You don't mature without confronting your shadow. You don't eliminate ego by attacking it. You integrate it by acknowledging it. Calm, peace, not attack. Most people fail tests in life not because the test was too hard, but because they ignored the lesson, like Luke did. They heard the advice, then did what they were going to do anyway. Welcome back to another episode of the Tradepreneur Show. This episode came about because of a comment I had received. I make clips and whatnot, and they go on social media and YouTube. And of course, this comment came in on one of the clips. And of course, the clip was of when I talked in the last episode, or a couple episodes back, about Luke Skywalker and Yoda in the Dagobah swamp and the cave scene. And so thank you. We can all thank Jeffrey Bear 6386 for this comment, because it really made me ponder the feedback. And he said, to be fair to Luke, Yoda says it is a domain of evil. Then Luke asks, what's in there? And Yoda replies, only what you take with you. Monday morning quarterbacks say, duh, it's a metaphor, but Luke wants to fight evil. It's not his fault. Okay, so I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's so much more to this than just that. And I'm like, okay, even this guy missed the point, missed the greater point in this. So instead of back and forth on the clips, and he does have a fair point, but if you really dig deep into this, there's so much more to it, and it transfers over into business and life, personal development, all of that. You know, this isn't Star Wars trivia. It's about you and the business. It's about leadership. It's about me leadership and we leadership. So let's go back to that scene. Let's dive deep into that and see the bigger lesson. So Luke, as you remember in The Empire Strikes Back, he ends up in the Dagobah swamp. I hope I'm saying it correctly. And he's going there to meet Yoda, right? He's going to meet a Jedi Master. And of course, I think he had his own preconceived notions of what a Jedi Master would look like and be and how they should behave and everything. And then, of course, he runs into Yoda, which I think the first lesson there is don't get tripped up by our preconceived notions. Here, a Jedi Master that is going to be training the next Jedi to be a master is this little creature. It's, a couple feet tall. And I think it takes Luke back at first when he comes to realize that Yoda is the Jedi Master. So they come in all forms and shapes and sizes. People, mentors is what I'm referring to now. So when Luke is there and he starts this training with Yoda, he's frustrated. He's impatient. He wants power. He wants answers. And yes, as the comment said, he wants to fight evil. And so let's actually read the interaction. I'm going to read the script as it is said between Yoda and Luke. Because Yoda says, beware of the dark side. Anger, fear, aggression, easily they flow. Quick to join you in a fight. Let me read that again. Easily they flow and quick to join you in a fight. The dark side is instant. It's reactive, it's emotional, it's defensive. That was my ad lib. That wasn't what Yoda said. Now Luke answers or asks the question, is the dark side stronger? And Yoda replies, no, quicker, easier, more seductive. Quicker, easier, more seductive. The shortcut is seductive. Now this is me ad-libbing. Aggression is seductive. Blame is seductive. Victim mindset is seductive. Ugh, I see too many victim mindsets out there. It's an embarrassing place to be if you're somebody with a victim mindset. It's easier, but it's not stronger. So Luke asks, next, how will I know the good side from the bad? And Yoda answers, you will know. Now this is very important. Yoda answers, you will know when you are calm, at peace, passive. A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense. never for attack. And that's the lesson right there. That's the lesson that Luke missed. Because then what happens? The cave appears. And Luke says to Yoda, there's something not right here. I feel cold, death. Yoda says, that place is strong with the dark side. A domain of evil it is. In you must go. Then Luke asks, what's in there? And Yoda answers, only what you take with you. Then this overlooked line, I believe, Yoda says, your weapons, because Luke goes to get his weapons. Your weapons, you will not need them. But Luke goes and straps on the lightsaber anyways. He ignores the lesson. He ignores the warning. He walks in armed. And what happens? He meets Vader. They fight. And he cuts Vader down instantly. Like it's not even a challenge. The helmet explodes open. And in it is Luke's face. See, the cave didn't show him an enemy. It showed him himself. Luke failed the test before he entered the cave. So while Yoda did say it was a domain of evil, Yoda had already given him the answer, but he ignored it. So look, the psychiatrist, Carl Jung, he talked about the shadow. The shadow is the part that you refuse to see. It's not always evil. It's just unexamined. Your fear, your insecurity, your ego, your need to prove something, your need to control. If you don't integrate it, it controls you. Luke sees Vader because Vader is in him. The potential for aggression, the potential for fear-based action. The enemy isn't external, it's internal. How many times have you walked into a situation already armed? Think, a tough conversation, a sales call, a meeting, a disagreement, already defensive, already prepared to fight. You strapped on the lightsaber. See, in that scene, the cave didn't create the conflict. Luke brought it. Every service call is a cave. Walk in thinking this is a cheap homeowner. The call isn't worth my time. You're armed. You're already armed with your BS, your belief systems. Walk in calm, rather. Curious, focused on diagnosing, focused on helping. Even if there's no repair or sale, the relationship is built. And sometimes that's the greater win. That's why in that couple episodes ago, I said there are no bad calls. Now, leadership. Let's go to leadership. How many leaders are running companies strapped? Blaming the economy, blaming techs, blaming marketing. That's victim mentality. That's fear. That's excuses. And then fear becomes aggression. Aggression becomes pressure. Pressure becomes culture problems. Your team reflects you. Just like the cave reflected Luke. Let's talk personal development, which this is really what this is about. The cave is necessary. You can't avoid the cave. You don't grow without it. You don't evolve without it. You don't mature without confronting your shadow. You don't eliminate ego by attacking it. You integrate it by acknowledging it. Calm, peace, not attack. Most people fail tests in life, not because the test was too hard, but because they ignored the lesson, like Luke did. They heard the advice, then did what they were going to do anyway. That's what Luke did. That's what we do when the fear gets the better of us. So look, ask yourself, what cave are you walking into right now? Is it a business challenge, a relationship, maybe a journey, a health journey? What are you bringing with you? Are you bringing fear mentality? Are you bringing a scarcity mentality, impatience or ego? Or are you bringing calm, clarity, curiosity, an abundance mindset? The cave is a domain of evil. Yes, it is. Very much so. But the outcome is shaped by what you carry. The cave is not your enemy. The cave is your mirror. And every call is a cave. Every leadership moment is a cave, and every conflict is a cave. You can walk in armed or you can walk in aware. That's the magic, being aware and being intentional. When the mask comes off, you will see exactly what you brought inside. That's the whole lesson that was there. With Yoda, he gave the answers on how to deal with the cave. He was told how to deal with the cave, right? And he ignored the lesson. And how many times do we do that? I know I'm guilty of it. I know I walk into some caves and I bring my preconceived notions and my BS, my belief systems. And so because of this episode, because of the feedback on some of the clips, that's why I wanted to go deep into this, because it's a realization to me, and it's really had me contemplating quite a bit on this whole concept of these caves and it's just one of those things where I'm like, wow, there is a deeper story here. There is a deeper lesson here. Again, the cave is a metaphor, and the cave isn't evil. It's revealing. So you have to figure out, what are your caves, right? What caves are you confronting every day? Every engagement, if you start reframing your experiences, and this is what I've started doing. I start looking at things as though they're the cave on the Dagobah swamp. When I walk into something, how am I going to approach it? The conversation I'm going to have. What am I bringing in with me? And that's the whole lesson. Even though Yoda said it's a domain of evil, he also said you won't need your weapons. And he also told him, when Luke asked, what will I find in there? He told them, whatever you bring with you. So Luke failed the test. See, the lesson was the conversation Luke and Yoda had. That was the lesson. And then the cave appeared. That was the test to see if the Jedi student learned the lesson. And clearly he did not, right? However, let's also discuss that sometimes, even when we hear the lesson, we learn the lesson, we sometimes need to fail the test to really understand the lesson to a deeper level. So that brings me to another point on this whole mindset, personal development concept with this cave and Luke and Yoda, is just because you fail the test doesn't mean you failed. You failed a test from a lesson that you learned, but the lesson may be even greater in the failing of the test. How many times have you failed something and you come out wiser and stronger? Because even though you knew the lesson, you went ahead and failed the test. However, in the failing of that test, greater realizations come. Like for Luke, it changed his perception. It was that moment that allowed him to really see and confront what was inside him, what his fear was. His fear was the evil, was the dark side, and being able to resist the dark side. And then when he gets the reflection of the cave of himself, he realizes that, yes, it's true, there's potential there. Evil does have potential in me. It was a greater realization. So in that case, while he did get the lesson and then he failed the test, he still walked away learning something. And I think that that's the second part of the takeaway. One, pay attention to the lesson, learn the lesson. When the test comes, use what's in the lesson of life to pass that test. And if you fail that test, don't get hung up on it. Don't beat yourself up on it. Examine what's going on. Examine why you chose to not listen to the lesson and fail the test. I know for me personally, many times it's because my ego gets in the way. My pride gets in the way. Very similar, ego and pride. Sometimes I'm just too damn stubborn. You can ask my wife that. But when I'm aware of the cave, when I start looking at things as the cave, which I'm doing from now on, it's really changed my perspective. So if I can encourage you to do one thing today from this episode, one takeaway, start looking at the different experiences you're going through, whether it's a relationship, a business challenge, the next service call, getting to the gym, whatever it may be, start treating it as the cave. And was there a lesson to prepare you for the cave you're about to walk into? And always remember, what you find in there is what you take with you. So until next time, to the next episode of the Tradepreneur Show, win the day, be great, and may the force be with you.